Man, this is a hard video to make. Yeah, today I think's August the 19th, 2024. And my wife passed away at 5:20 today. It's been rough. I started some video earlier talking about the last weekend, and I got it going a little bit after this. I'll kind of say how everything led up. But, now I'm trying to figure out what to do, and I'm home today, and, we've been together since February. A mosquito flying in here trying to kill me. February of 1996. And we got married in March of 97. So it's been a long time. This is going to be a long video. Talked to several people. They talked to like a pastor and anybody dealing with death. Several people have done it. Several people working in the hospital. They've been there. But I thought my wife had 4 or 6 months. I just looking back, I went back 2 months on videos, and she got her hair dyed, and she was walking behind me. She didn't even have her oxygen on then. And then that's just 2 months ago, and she's been sick for a while, but she felt pretty that day. A month ago, she come back from Charleston with her mother, and we got bad news that she was terminal. There's nothing they can do for her. And then a month after that, and then she was so sick, and she qualified for long-term continuing care, which it isn't too long, but I started doing that for her in February. I'd work for her about 4 hours a day doing stuff, kind of like a home health aide, and I did that for 27 weeks. Last week was my 27th week. This week, the job terminated because my wife passed. But my son had some friends come over, and they're very thoughtful thinking. And one guy was giving me just professional advice at 20 years old. It's amazing. And it's pretty cool. And just kind of talking, I said, man, you got a knack. You ought to be a therapist. I'm 53, and he's giving me advice. But it's tough. I was, I don't know. I don't know if I should have kept them or not, but the last day I got it, and I even got some bad pictures right before and right when she passed, and watching that just get me all teary-eyed. I miss her. My son, I was worried that he would do something, but he's got some good friends that are coming around and supporting him, and that's cool. And his friends, thank y'all for coming. If you watch this, they helped me by them helping him. And, even though I'm the old guy, so they had to do their own thing, but I got a little bit of comfort from them being over here before they parted to their own stuff, and tomorrow I got to talk to the funeral home, and it's always something. And then I got to get rid of her oxygen and get them back there. And they were supposed to bring her a hospital bed tomorrow, and they're delivering the meals, and I got to tell them to stop all that. And it's just all this stuff going. I done canceled the TV. We had YouTube TV and Peacock, and I went ahead and canceled it. I got it for a couple more days, but I don't watch it. That was just for her. I bought her a car, so she had air conditioning, and she couldn't travel with me to go get it, so I got her the car. And well, it's a nice car, I think. So man, it's just tough. It's just trying to figure out what I'm do now. I don't want to do crazy stuff. I want to see my grandbabies. I got to see one today, and he gets mad real easy, so he didn't want to hug me, and then he come up, I got 3 hugs. So, you know, I need to take care of myself and try to watch my sugar more. And it's just, it's tough. It's tough, man. It's, you know, just realizing like my dad died 2017 and he had dementia, and I seen him bad way and went up there and he was bad. And every now and then, I don't even have his number anymore. And I'll think about something. I say, yeah, I want to call my dad. And I love my mama, and I talk to my mama a lot. And it's hard, but YouTube is so cool because we eat a lot, and I video, and she didn't want me videoing her a lot because, you know, she looked sick, so people would cut her down and say, well, who's that, your grandma? But she was sick, you know, and so sometimes she felt better, she let me video her, and I'm glad she did because I got that instead of what we have, and it was so tough. This video might be a little out of place from the other video, so I'm not sure where it stopped and goes. I just wanted to make sure I loaded it, you know. There's my wife's dog. No. They looking at me like, what are you doing? They looking at me like my wife. Hey, why you bothering me with that? Yeah, I don't really know what to do. I just feel like I'm in a movie and somebody else is playing my part. But yeah, my wife, she passed away today at 5:20. And I thought she had 4 to 6 months. I'm looking on the schedule, all the doctors pointing we got to go, and we're just going to go on vacation. And, you know, I found those timeshare things. We're going to go to that at $99. And my son said, hey, Mama said you got to take me, so I guess I'll take my son. I said, you're going to have to eat cheap. But, man, it's surreal. It's surreal, her passing like that. The hardest part was dealing with everybody's different grieving, and everybody wanted to do something different for her. So it was hard for my wife passing, but dealing with everybody else dealing with it was rough. That was rough. You know, I was going to sell my truck, and I had them coming like Friday. They're supposed to be here between 8 and 12, and they were running late. So I said, when they coming? So it's about, but it's hard. It's hard. But my wife suffered so much. It's almost a relief, if that makes any sense. But I miss her so much. It's rough. I broke down already once, but she come in there about 10:30 and woke me up. I was waiting on taking a nap. I was tired, and she said, hey, I'm hungry. And she hadn't really ate that good this week, and she's been telling me, you know, something's going on. And I mean, I've seen her go down and come up. You know, she was on a ventilator for about 8 days and didn't think she's going to recover from that. But they told us probably about June she was terminal, and they couldn't do anything. She was inoperable for a heart. She had a mitral valve, and it was at 51%, so it's stiff, but the blood back up getting the lungs, so then she couldn't breathe, and they put her on oxygen, and she was struggling with that, plus several other issues, you know, all her veins and arteries disease, 7 stents, 5 bypass, gastroparesis, the food never entered her stomach, and she wouldn't even complain. She just, she wouldn't tell you how sick she was because she didn't want to be treated different or act like a burden, and she was real feisty and want to punch your nose, so you thought she was all right. So she told me she was hungry. About an hour later, I waited and went to the Waffle House, and the guy said he wasn't coming. So we got to the Waffle House, and we had 2 things, and she got her feet tangled, and she couldn't get out of the car that good. And I was thinking, this is weird. So I moved them out, got her feet out, left the door open, and I was walking with her. She was walking faster than me, but she didn't think she was going to make it. She sat at the booth in the Waffle House. Next thing, I get the stuff out of the car, close the door, get everything to the pocketbook and their oxygen. She said, you better call 911. So then my daughter called me and I told her what was going on. So she come over, and so the ambulance finally got my wife in there, and my daughter comes up, almost missed it, and she wanted to ride an ambulance. Well, they won't let her ride in the back where Crystal was, so they let her ride in the front. And kind of poor planning. She should have followed with her car over there, so I could have picked her up and gave her car. But I took the grandbaby because I was hoping they was going to come pick the truck up. But after I come out there, and it's supposed to be 8 to 12, they're supposed to pick the truck up, wasn't going to give me much for it. And it was like 12:40, and they still hadn't showed up. So I went ahead and got my other grandbaby out of school early, and my little grandbaby walk in, and he's like happy feet, and the sidewalk was hot, but it didn't faze him. And then I had both babies in the car and rode to get my daughter. And then I said, got her, and then I took her home, and then I went back up there to see my wife, and she was hurting. She was struggling to breathe. This is Friday. She's in the emergency room, and I got to see her that once, and then got to see her again, and she would lay her head on me and tell me she didn't want me to leave, and she has night medicine, makes her sleepy. So she took that about 11:30, and she was kind of really passed out asleep. So I told the nurse, and she's supposed to get a room. She hadn't got a room yet from the emergency room, because they were going to admit her because it's a T word, an enzyme. It's supposed to be like 12, and it was 61. So it was already heart failure right there. So they wanted to admit her for observation for a heart. And we hadn't really went to this hospital, but we couldn't go to the local one no more, because last time we was there, they told us she was too sick for that one. So, I mean, it's, so where do you go? It's almost like you ain't got no options. So then I forgot what I was saying. I'm sorry, but I left at 11:30, went home, come back to the hospital early as I could get there, and she was still so this is Saturday, she was still in the emergency room, in one of the rooms. So they were doing tests Saturday, trying to figure out, what's wrong with her heart, and trying to do this, take her off in the bed and did a test. And then I was in her room. Well, they said, okay, we've finally got a room to admit her in. So they admitted her to the hospital room, and they doing these tests of wearing her out. And she was so tired and laying back and struggling to breathe, and, just wore out. And they do another test. And then they wanted to do, they wanted to speed up her heart, because, instead of walking on a treadmill, they give you medicine to speed up. Well, I told them they don't need to do that. That'll take her out, because, her heart having trouble. So we couldn't figure out what's wrong. She had all this stuff's going on, high white blood cell count, and, but we're trying to figure out if they can fix it. So they tried to do a lung test. She couldn't do it, and she's so exhausted, and they get through everything, and then she kind of collapses, and they thought she had a stroke, because they're slapping her, trying to get her, and I found out what first responder is. First responder to so-and-so room, and it's our room, and they said, y'all better get out of the room, because her mother and husband had come. So they told us to get out of the room, and it looked like she almost died then. So it scared us to death, and it's like, oh man, didn't realize how bad she was. And everybody's all nerves all tore up, and she kind of responds, and they kind of get her stable a little bit. So they said, okay, we're going to move her to the higher care, not ICU, but the one right before it. So it's, it's like critical care, and the nurses are a lot better up there, and they started kind of take care of her Saturday, and she finally got comfortable, and then before I left, they had, when she was down in the bottom one, she tried to get up and go to the bathroom. So I got to go to the bathroom. She stood up. She's so tired, she fell on the bed, and nobody would help her. But finally, the little ladies that work at the hospital, they're on the floor that she went to, the critical floor. They got my wife nice and took care of her needs where she had an accident. And they were so sweet. Nobody else would. Everybody's like, well, somebody else will do it. Somebody else will do it. And finally she got that fixed. And then probably about 8 o'clock, my wife kind of had enough energy she looked like she'd been run through a mill, but she kind of acknowledged me. I said, now you wake up, I got to go. Because her mama was here. So I was going to only live like 30 minutes away. So I was going to go home and get some sleep. Because to deal with all this, you got to have a lot of sleep. So Saturday night, she was kind of responsive to me, and she said, I'm sorry. I said, it's okay. You going through it. So I went home, and that's kind of the last that she was really, really conscious with me. And my son had to be at work Sunday at 4 o'clock. So I was going to come home and get up and take him to work and then come back to the hospital. Well, Sunday morning, I had my phone turned off. So the next thing I know, it sounds like the house is coming apart. My daughter's outside my window in the door, beating on it. It's like 7-something in the morning, because I kind of got to bed late. I thought I would be able to sleep in a little bit. Her mom's there, and I didn't think it was that serious, like normal, and I'd get up there and be able to see her. Well, she said, hey, me and you are responsible. The doctor's trying to call you to find out. And I made a decision before I went to the hospital, but I mean, seeing her flipping out, all the stuff's going. And then the doctor told me her organs are shutting down. Her liver enzymes are high. And they said, well, and she's already on palliative care already. So they wanted her on hospice, but as long as she could get up and go to the bathroom and everything, then we just kept her on palliative care. But the hospice would only come out, 2 or 3 times or whatever they do, but we didn't feel like they would provide any better service to me. And plus, I love her. I'm wobbling. I like the blind leading the blind. Wasn't much help, but I tried really hard. And she'd always fuss at me, you ain't doing enough. But my sister-in-law told me, and my daughter, she told them that even though I got on her nerves and drove her crazy, she would not want to be on this journey and go down this path with nobody else but me. So she wanted me, I took care of her the best I could, and I loved her, and she really appreciated that. So the doctor called and said, hey, she's not eligible, she's not a candidate for surgery. She probably won't make it. She's real sick. They already knew that from the other doctor, and it's still hard to believe at the time, but they said, hey, if her organs are shutting down, and plus they told me Saturday night, it wasn't supposed to, but the lady did echo. Normally her mitral valve is at 50%, and that's the one that controls the flow, as far as I understand, from the lungs. So it backs up the lungs. So that's why she has to take the fluid pills. So I told them, you know, she was weak and all that and had all the infection. I said, well, just give her some antibiotics and give her some fluid, you know, because normally you give her fluid if you overdid it because it was a hard balance. But when she did the echo, my wife couldn't lay back like she would, so it took a minute, and she was forcing her. That was Saturday, and she said that her mitral valve was down to 15%, and I was like, oh, man. So her heart's just about to give out then. And the doctor called me. I said, well, how bad is it? She said, it's bad. Now, this is back to Sunday, and she said she's only got like maybe 2 days. And I said, well, okay, well, let's move her to the comfort care. I said, well, okay, it's probably time. But, you know, I was so confused, and it was kind of pushed. And so it took me a minute to get ready. And the time I got up there, the 2 nurses that worked on her on Saturday were pushing the bed. So they done put her up there at the new floor from the other floor. And they said, oh, don't come this way. Go. She's already up the 10th floor. I said, okay. So, yeah, you know, my son was with me. So we went to the 10th floor, and she's not really responsive. She's in the bed, just, you know, breathing heavy. And the main thing now is just to keep her comfortable till she passes, you know. But then the family was saying, well, if we keep her all knocked out, we're not going to get no time with her. But you know, does she really know you're there at that point? I don't know. But that was hard because she'd be flopping around, and you know, she's struggling because she was in pain at the house, but it's like they wanted to be able to see her, and I wanted her to be relaxed and comfortable, you know, because she's in a lot of pain. I mean, she'd been suffering. So we went home Saturday, and she was kind of calm. And then, Sunday. Well, then I go back up there Monday, you know, trying to be prepared for all this. And so busy, had to find a place in the parking lot. And it's kind of surreal the whole day. But we get up there, and everybody's been sitting there, and they've had a long time. And family come out of town, and her mother and her husband's still there. Well, they, you know, my wife likes it cold, but they felt her and thought she was all right. But my wife likes it like 65 degrees. Well, they turned it up kind of to their temperature. So I turned it back down, and then they went out, and my wife was flopping around. So I said, well, okay, we'll give her, they allow her to have morphine because it's palliative care. It's not really hospice, but it's comfort care, kind of the same way. They kind of want you just ease, and it's hard. But when before I got up there, I was half the night thinking, well, did I make the right decision? Am I killing my wife? Am I murdering my wife? You know, even though, does this doctor know what they're talking about? You know, she's come back from so many things, and other people say, well, just give her fluid and all this. And that was hard dealing with all that, because I kind of knew she was bad. But I said, well, maybe there's a chance. I said, okay, well, let's tell the doctor. I tried to reach out, you know, and I left a message that they got me to her, and they said, well, you just need to talk to the doctor in the morning. So I was going to tell them to test her blood and see if the enzymes and all that had went down. You know, maybe the organ failure reversed itself. I didn't understand what's going on. I seen all the numbers, but I had no idea what all that meant. And I was going to go up there. So the different hospital, the palliative care, she's a doctor, and she deals with people who on the end of life stage, you know, they only got so long to go. And she looked at all the numbers, and she understood everything. She said, I made the best decision, and she agreed with it. And she said, this is a second doctor, so you got your second opinion. And she said a third doctor. So her heart doctor said it too. And it's hard, you know, they just told her a month ago that they would, you know, just enjoy the time you have left. So it was already rough, but I wouldn't want to accept it. You know, I was thinking 4 to 6 years. Well, you know, I gave her that Sunday. She's flopping around, and me and my daughter there, and son. And so I told her morphine. Well, then she has bad anxiety. So like 30 minutes later, gave her the anxiety medicine because she's still flopping around, and it made her relax. And I wanted her to be at peace, you know. So she was relaxed at peace. And then the family come in and said, oh, you give her that morphine, it's going to stop her heart, you know, and you give it to her again, I'm going to go ahead and say my goodbyes. And, oh, man, it was rough. You know, it's like 11 something. And then they said, well, you slowed it down so much. But she was calm. She was breathing. Oh, and plus the day before, when they put her up there Sunday, they didn't even have oxygen. They put her in an oxygen tank, but that's kind of why I was second guessing, because she sat up with her eyes and said, Mommy, help me. Mommy, help me. And then, baby, help me. But that's all she said. But she wasn't getting no oxygen because the canister was empty. And they didn't put the oxygen in the wall because palliative care, they didn't think about it. So she struggled all day, you know, Sunday, and on the thing, whenever the oxygen ran out, you know, 3 liters a minute. I don't know how long it'd take for a can, but she was struggling. And, you know, she was flopping around, and her mom thought she was loving on her, but she was struggling. And I was like, well, this is cruel. So, you know, Monday, I was trying to be better prepared to have my wife relax. I love her. I wouldn't want to do nothing bad to her. And then she gave her the morphine, and then gave her something for anxiety, and it calmed her down real good because the morphine kind of heated her up. She got real hot. And, you know, they had the air real high and had a little fan. They didn't have the fan pointing on her. So I got all that situated because she likes to have the air in her face. I knew, you know, I've been with her a lot. And then about 4:30, she kind of started waking up, about 4:20, and kind of moving around. And then everybody that was there was calling her name and telling her they love her. And, you know, I did a little bit too. And I said, you know, hey, or she's not going to make it like this. Her heart's going to quit. You know, and I wanted her to be at ease, and I don't know how long she would have lived at ease, but she would have breathed. But she had her hands up to her chest like this and looking around, and it looked like she noticed us, and it looked like maybe she knew what was going on. I don't know, but I was telling her, we all told her we love her. I told her, baby, it's all right. You can go on home. You know, telling her it's all right. We're going to be all right. Eventually, I didn't tell her that, but maybe it feels really weird. And, I know we're going to be all right. It's tough. I know everybody deals with this, and somebody out in the hallway, I heard them boo-hooing earlier before, but it got worse. And, you know, finally they said, well, if y'all ain't gonna get her stuff, at least get them to check her blood pressure and oxygen. Well, she had the oxygen, so her oxygen was almost 100%, but her blood pressure was around about 116 earlier, and now it was down to 88 and over 70 something. So her blood pressure was really low, and it's going down, and she was like, you know, kind of breathing a little bit and looking around, and then her breath just got less and less and less and less, and then it stopped. And then, you know, that's when the really bad thing, everybody's crying and wailing, and my 2 children over there holding their mama, and I was over there in the back, and, you know, I'm like shuddering, trying to keep tearing in. They just coming out, and my daughter and son, and just screaming bloody murder. And somebody told them, y'all need to, they were fussing at them because they were mourning and just now realizing they didn't see it happening. You know, that's why I said it's hard to deal with family, because they said, y'all need to quit. You know, I mean, whoo, it's rough dealing with other people when it's a serious situation, but, you know, it'd only be one time, and you know who to stay away from. But it's rough. But we got through all that, and then, you know, I'd had a funeral home that I'd recorded off the radio, and I've been listening to them. And I talked to him yesterday. The guy was at church, and I called him, and he said, well, I'm the long-term care. And he gave me the number, and he said, you need to call the office. So I hadn't got a will, stubborn, last minute, didn't think nothing was going to happen. I said, man, what'd I do? I mean, we don't really own a lot, but there's a lot of stuff you got to go through. And so then I called the funeral home. I called the number he said, and they hung up. Then I called the funeral home, and they said, all you got to do is give us permission and tell them that we're going to do it. And I'll call you at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'll start hashing all these paperwork and all the details. And I said, okay, because, you know, it's like, what I do? Because I already got ADHD, can't remember nothing. And this situation was worse. And then my wife had a ring on both fingers, and I took one off, and she ain't really swole up yet. And the other side was kind of harder, and they told me to quit. They said, they'll give you the rings. So I asked the lady, I said, how long do we have? You know, because she passed at 5:20. And then it took about 30 minutes for the doctor to get in there, and because they had to have a doctor to pronounce her. And then she said, well, y'all got to about 8 o'clock because I got to clean the body before they come pick it up, and then pick her up. And then she said probably about 2 hours, a lot of things are going to happen that you don't want to be there for. And my daughter didn't want to leave, and I didn't want her to see what happens when somebody's passed. And I had to drag her out of there, and it was better getting out of that room and out of there. We got pictures. I said, you know, even though it makes you cry, but I said, keep the pictures. At least you'll have it, you know. And I make videos, and eventually, you know, I'd like to do it full time, but I'm glad I did it, because all the little videos, I got my wife in some of them. And just seeing her today walking, you know, after seeing her pass away, and then seeing the videos where, like 2 months ago, she's walking behind me going to S&S cafeteria, real happy, and her little friend come to get her hair, and seeing some of the videos where she cut up with me, and my birthday, you know, like a month ago, she sang happy birthday to me, you know, and the best birthday I ever had. And she did that for me. She wanted me to have a good birthday. And she's been looking out for me, even though I'm trying to look out for her. And I tortured her because the air conditioner went out and couldn't really get it fixed. So it took me a minute to get around to where I could get a car with air conditioning, and the truck went out. So it didn't have no air conditioning, and it was rough on her because she had to have the air to breathe. But man, I was worried I made the wrong decision. I said, well, I'd murdered my wife, and the lady at Palliative Care told me no, and everybody's told me no, and it's tough. I said, well, maybe she'd come back. But they said, you know, well, life support, you can keep a person living a long time, but it's not a quality of life. And with her being terminal, she wasn't going to never come back from it. I mean, the Lord works miracles. I've seen them before, but it's like, you know, this time was it. But it's tough, and I got to be strong. But it ain't easy, you know. My dad was one thing. He kept his new wife, you know, my stepmother, and kind of chose her. And I'd see him every now and then, but we wasn't really close. But my wife, you know, I love my mother. She loves me more than anything. I know how it is, children. But your wife, I felt like she loved me more than my mother. And she was my best friend, because when my son had his friends over, you know, I got acquaintances, but I don't really have nobody I hung out with, because I hung out with my wife. I was always with her, whatever she wanted to do. I wanted to hang out with my wife. You know, we've been together. This past November hit over half my life. So we was together over half my life. So I've known being with my wife over half my life. And, you know, she was a godsend. I got to answer my prayers. I prayed for somebody. I said, give me somebody who's been through a rough stuff and can appreciate somebody like me. And I got exactly what I wanted, you know, even though she was a firecracker and, you know, she loved life and did the best she could. And I'm going to miss her deeply. I'm going to miss her. But one day, I believe, you know, it won't be probably married man and wife, but at least I'll see her in heaven. And hopefully she's up there. Maybe I get to live next to her, so hopefully she got my house in order. So, hey, put this crazy guy over here. I knew him a long time, you know. But she got to be reunited with her grandma and her dad, hopefully. But man, it is tough. It's tough. Here I am in the house, and, you know, we've been in separate rooms for a while, so that kind of helps, but I got to move everything here and there, but every now and then I'm thinking, well, my wife calling me? Does she need something? Does she need me to go get her something? She need a drink? Because I was taking care of her for 27 weeks, you know, the best I could, and now it's like, my poor little baby. And, you know, I'm going to miss her deeply. She wanted me to go on vacation, but I don't think I want to go by myself. I don't think I'm strong enough to do that. Be like boo-hooing the whole time. But it's different, you know. You lose a spouse, man. And you love your life. And she got married when she was young, and it wasn't really that good. But she was my first marriage and probably my last. And, you know, if I'm weak and somebody wanted to sweep me off my feet, well, my son lives here, so she'd have to be a special person to put up with all that. So I doubt I'll ever get married again. But, you know, it's tough because, you know, I always try to make my wife happy, and they always fussed at me, said I spoiled her, but I always tried to make sure she was happy and comfortable and whatever I could do. And now I don't have my wife to make happy, you know, and I'm glad she's not suffering anymore, but, you know, it felt bad. It's like, man, did I drop the ball? Because I was always thinking, you know, who's going to do this for me? All the stuff that I put up with and went to bat for and fighting, and, you know, if I needed that little help, who's going to step up there and keep me? But, I, you know, I'm in it, but I said, if I get like this, don't y'all torture me to death, you know, because I don't know if I'll be alert, but, you know, you quit talking, and, I mean, we all got to get here. I just hope mine's a whole lot more peaceful, I guess. I got COPD, supposed to be a CPAC. I had to sleep on my stomach, so hopefully that'll make it. And now, you know, I've been wanting to lose weight a lot, and just being funny, this one guy, he's a crazy guy I work with. He got laid off with me in 2000, and he moved to Ohio, but he'd always say, man, I lost 160 pounds. You know, he'd been married like 4 or 5 times. He said, how did you do that? I got divorced. So, when my wife, I'd take her to eat, even though she didn't eat, she wanted me to eat with her. And now it's like, I just don't feel like eating. I guess I'm so used to eating with somebody. We ate together all the time. And then when I got laid off in 2022, you know, and I was fortunate enough to be here, and now trying to figure out what to do, because I seen this bookkeeping stuff and the videos, and I got my CDL for truck driving, and, you know, there's all kind of stuff I could do. You got to have like, you got to have a network, you know, because you ain't going to get hired just putting in for jobs. I seen a job. It looks cool. But I put in for it. Who knows? It's an apprenticeship job to fit people with hearing aids. and it's like $22 an hour. I said, well, shoot. And then you get your little certificate, but I doubt they'll call. But they'll call, I'll go for it. But, you know, I just got all this stuff and don't know what to do. But, you know, I don't want to kill myself and work 70 hours and then get to the point that I can retire and then kill over. I want to enjoy life now. So it ain't all about the money. It's about the time. You know, you don't get that back. We thought we had it all. I had all this list, and I emailed myself and I put a note, you know, this appointment, that appointment, what we had to do. And anytime it changed, I'd copy it, change it, and re-mail it to myself so I could just look on my mail and see all our appointments and all the stuff we had to do and get done. And, you know, all this stuff we was going to do. And we wanted to go on vacation again. We had so many appointments, and she just got her eyeball, her left eye. Yeah, left eye. Wednesday was her second time, and a month from now, they're supposed to go back and do the laser surgery, but they can't. All this stuff is supposed to be happening, and it ain't no more because she's went on. But you never know how much time you got. Enjoy the time you have, because nobody's promised today or tomorrow. And sorry it's a long video, but kind of wanted to make it, and hopefully now I don't have as much pictures like I do of me talking. So my kids will probably be overloaded and don't want, you know, they don't want to watch it because they see me all the time. And I can really get on your nerves if I'm around you and talk too much. But these videos hopefully will help my children and grandchildren in the future if my channel stays alive. But the only way it's going to stay alive if it makes a couple dollars. You know, they'll keep it. But if it ain't making anything, they'll let it die. You know, unless I had some kind of thing where, hey, you got to make a video or you don't get this $2 I got. You know, I ain't got no money. So, but, you know, the only people that really going to know you or affect your family or people you actually know. Because in the past or in the future, be like, who's that? It'd be cool from some of the ideas you discuss if they like your style, but, you know, you're not going to be as relevant because you're not who they knew back then and all that. But it's, I miss her. I miss her very much, and I'm okay. It's really weird how, even though I had the little sniffles and I miss her, but I've accepted it, and I feel like I made the right decision. I didn't realize she was sick as she was. She kept a lot of stuff from me. She didn't want me to worry or be treated different because she got irritated. She said, quit doing that. Because she wanted to be independent. She said, you being a little bit too supportive. You taking care of me too good. I said, well, baby, I love you. I'm trying to help you, you know, even though I'm bumbling with it. But, you know, I tried to back off of her doing too much. You know, she's watching the wrestling and her Days of Life. She still watches that. And I said, well, maybe if we turn on wrestling, maybe it'll perk her up, or somebody brings something in here, some coffee smell, and somebody opens some coffee, smell it real good, and it didn't do anything. So, you know, I knew it was bad. And then my chart at the hospital, they were very detailed on the notes. So, you know, all you had to do is just read them again. And, you know, the little Christian guy that come and talked to us twice, and he even said that she was, the doctor was a good doctor and knew her stuff, and they wouldn't do it lightly. You know, if they didn't see that if she had a chance, they would have let her, they'd fight for her. They wouldn't just do it in this case. And even though we all wanted her to keep going and fight for it and everything, you know, I'm glad she's at peace. I still hate that she went. I thought she had more time. And I figured I'd be the one to go. I'm still here, you know, but kind of want to share that, how I felt about everything. And we went, I think it was, well, me and my daughter and my son was with me. And see, my wife was the glue that kind of held it together, because I was always the daddy. And I wasn't more the friend, I was a daddy. And I would try to help them daddy-wise. Well, sometimes it's too strong for the kids, or, you know, mama was like a friend. So she spoiled them. And they would go around me, go to mama to get what they wanted, or go to mama, and she would do it, you know. And she just got to where she couldn't do it. She used to watch the babies or take them yard sale. Now she got to where she couldn't drive, and she couldn't have C, and it would just wear her out, and no air conditioning, and it just wear her out, and she just can't do it. And she was getting to the point she just had to tell people no, but it's just, she felt like she's gonna die if she did it, literally, because she's just too wore out. But you know, hopefully I told her we'll be all right. And it's kind of funny, you know, my son and daughter talking to her and telling her it was gonna be all right. And I told her to go on. And it's like, as soon as my son said he would take care of her dog, that's when she went ahead and passed. As long as she knew her dog was taken care of. Probably would have happened 2 days ago if he'd have told her that, because she was worried about her dog. And, oh, the mosquitoes in here. Man, my son leaves the door open all the time, and they finally fly in the house. But yeah, I'm gonna miss her, you know, and I'm gonna miss her. I gotta be here for the grandbabies, but you know, talking about that weight loss, like I had 2 things of coffee, and usually I have a whole pot. So I didn't have a whole pot. I had an apple and some oatmeal, 2 packs of oatmeal, and then I had chicken McGriddle that my son-in-law bought me. And then I had this box of candy bars that I bought. Well, not candy bars, but like protein bars. I ate 2 of them. And I just ain't hungry, you know. Without my wife, since I can't cook, it's like there's no reason to go out to eat. And we was eating at Waffle House all the time. And then I'd talk about the Waffle House. And the whole family was like, she hated the Waffle House. Because she likes variety. So she hated the Waffle House. I hope that ain't why she didn't eat, but she did eat. A lot of times she eat grits and the coffee, the eggs, and she always asked if they had tomatoes. But they said she hated the Waffle House, you know, but it was convenient, and we kind of made family up there, me and her. And now, you know, one person gave me their number, and I told them that she passed, and I said it's hard, and they said they can only imagine. And we made friends kind of with a lot of people up there. But now it's kind of like, you know, you go up there and you talk to all these people and they call you a regular. And now every one of them you're going to have to explain the story to. And I just can't handle it right now. It's too much. So I'm not sure if I'll eat at Waffle House again. Maybe my son, he said, we're going to go to Waffle House because, you know, he'd ate up there with us. And I told him, I said, now I ain't got no money now, so you're going to have to help pay on your own stuff. You know, but, man, just, it's surreal. It's surreal. But I might end up losing weight just because it's like, what's the point? You know, what's the point of going in there and spending the money now? Just, you know, oatmeal's cheap. It's healthy for you, but, you know, I've been having to really regular today, and my wife said it's nerves, so we'll see, because, you know, the oatmeal is supposed to help with cholesterol, and the apple's supposed to help with, you know, stuff, so it's supposed to be good food. And the coffee with apple would make you really go, so you gotta watch that. But I wanted something else today, and didn't eat. All I ate was those little, but now they're 200 calories a piece. I only ate 2 of them, so it still ain't bad. But yeah, it's just surreal, you know. And anybody that's lost loved ones, I feel you. I've lost a lot of loved ones, but losing a spouse that you love, it's rough. It is rough. And my mom told me I might qualify. You know, the government, I think, gives you $250 if they get in some kind of SSI or Social Security. So, you know, better than nothing. So I might go see about that. But man, it's just, it's like, what do you do? What do you do? Because I bought the car, and you see how these people kind of treat each other when they work together all the time, kind of like your family does when everybody's wanting to mourn a different way. So I don't want to just go work a bunch of crazy people, you know. And I could go back and get my Class A CDL, but I don't want to drive, so that'd be a waste of time. But I got my Class B. I don't know what to do. I don't know. A friend of mine, they're fixing to star in a TV show. And I said, well, I'd like to do that. I'll be on a TV show. They said they hire everybody, old people, 80 years old. And, you know, I'll be one of the characters. I can do it. But, you know, I don't want to sell my soul or anything. I want to be me, and I still want to honor Jesus. So probably wouldn't be able to get in the movie business. Who knows? You know, the low budget films might still have, you know, free people, I guess. But according to Hollywood and, you know, some of these conspiracy theories. So I'll just be low key, so I can be around for the grandbabies and try not to get upset and enjoy that little satellite radio I got right now. And anytime a little song comes on, I got it. And eventually I'm going to add them all to the playlist. And I think it's called Cool Songs, if you can see it under my channel, you know. And I'm adding it. I think I shared it. So it's a bunch of cool songs. And sometimes I'd listen to them. I'd do my wife's when I was doing her medicine, you know. And now I got all this medicine. But yeah, that's the hardest part. That's the hardest part, is going from what you were doing to having to go to something else. But thank y'all for listening to me rambling on. I hope y'all's life is good. And, you know, even though people have pain, it helps when somebody else has had that same pain and you understand, even though it's not the exact pain, but you kind of relate. You know, it's like, kind of like, well, we both stomped our toe before, but we've both lost people, and it ain't easy, you know. But if you know they got a plan after this, it helps a little bit. But it's still rough, because so much of your life was involved, and it's like, now what? Now what do I do? But yeah, thank y'all for watching. Hope it wasn't too sad a video, and I'm going to keep making them, whether I'm working or not. And, you know, 20, 30 years from now, somebody can hear it, because, you know, the grandbabies, my oldest one's 5, and the other one won't be 2 the next month, and they're real young. You know, how do you explain to them that Mimi ain't here no more? And, you know, I got to be around so I can see them. And, you know, they done told me about Grandpa, and now my kids are talking to me more, because they'd always go to Mama. And they're talking to me. I just can't give them stuff like Mama could, but I can be there. And, you know, it's all we got left when people start disappearing. So, you know, or going home. But hope y'all the best with everything, and hope y'all are dealing with things. And sorry such a long video. If you watched it to the end, thank you. And hopefully I can make some more smiley videos about something. And we'll talk to you later. Well, look at this turkey burger. We're up here at the Piedmont Hospital. It's not like MUSC, but my son got pretty good.
I just had a regular cheeseburger with lettuce.
He got a regular cheeseburger with lettuce, and my daughter got some kind of taco fajita thing.
No, it's chicken nachos.
Chicken nachos. A Skippy peanut butter wafer bar.
Sometimes they'll have them on sale.
Got me an apple, man. Woohoo! I put them in the top of the refrigerator so there's no liquidy gook on them. Y'all have a good day. Jelly. We up here had to get some. This is the egg chicken hip bowl. There's my wife. She's eating her grits and her egg sandwich and coffee. I got my homemade brew.